Okay, so I'm just going to add in these last few components I need for the roof detail there. And so you can see, if you weren't sure how to draw the window, that will give you a good example. You don't need to have the extra detail here showing the window receding from the cut plane, but if you want to add it, you can. I haven't put the bricks above the head either yet, but I will do that. But the bricks here have been done so that they show in the detail. So I'm just going to quickly put in some lines and a few extra little things to get that roof detail to look a bit more complete, and then I'm going to show you how to do your notes. Okay, so here we've got the line there which shows the level. Now, yeah, looking at this drawing here, they've actually taken that to the ceiling, so not a problem. So I'm going to stretch, so my ceiling is a bit low there. So I'm just going to use the stretch tool to bring all of that up. So I'm going to just make sure I don't stretch the wall lines at all. Just using Shift to deselect those. And then from the bottom of the ceiling there, and I've clicked on mirror, that was clever. Okay, so I'll just do that again, stretch, not mirror. So there's a bit of a secret with stretch. It tends to only use the things showing in the window as being selected when you press enter, or when you well, I think it's been improved a bit, but basically you want to try and get all the things in your window when you're zoomed out. You can zoom in to deselect things, but I've just found if you zoom in while you're making the window, it tends to lose things. You'll see when you practice it how that works. So there we are. So I just extended that up a bit because I need the ceiling to be a bit higher. And now looking at the sheet with the details. Yeah, so they're a little bit high, so I just need to go and pan those down a little. And do I need to unlock? Yes, I do, of course. So I just need to make note of how much I'm panning down there. So let's say 250. No, not enough. Yeah, exactly. So another 250 I'll do. So that's 500 altogether. So now over here I can just come down that amount, 500. And okay, so there it's done the page because I forgot to unlock it. So, there we go, that's why that happens. Okay, so that's a bit of a bug. There we go, just switching viewports should wake it up if you lose that lock symbol that I saw happen before as well. So, no, unfortunately. Yeah, as far as I know, you can't. Okay, so again, most of these this can be done back in the model tab. Probably easier to do it there. And so I really just want to have a set out for the insulation there. And so we'll just assume it's 100 mil. And then a nice heavy line for the bituminous felt, and then the flashing essentially that you have coming in from the brick course. Do you know what that flashing's called? Doesn't tell you here the correct name. That's apron flashing. So it's like an apron coming down from the brickwork. Okay, so again, I'm just going to offset 100mm from this line, and then that would be a nice, well, we'll make the bitumen 5mm and make them a really nice heavy line afterwards. So I'm going to make a layer for that. So what do we need? I suppose we should really have insulation. We'll end up hashing it anyway, but for now I'll just keep that as a separate layer. And the felt, so bitumen, I always have to think about the spelling of that. Yep, bitumen felt. And really heavy. So just like the glass, if you, I didn't show you that actually, but the glass in the window, you can see is again a really heavy line, so at least 0.5. And oh yeah, just while I'm on it, the windows there obviously would just be copied to the upper levels. And so this line here will go onto the felt layer. Why can't I see it? No. So that so the one below that would be the insulation. So that would be the felt, and then this here would be insulation. And so it wouldn't hurt to have some bricks there to get the flashing right. So once you've drawn some bricks anywhere else, you can easily copy them up. Yes, I noticed here there, because I zoomed in while I was selecting it, missed out the bottom. They're 86. You can do them 85, but 86 I've done because it just works out better. And then okay, so here we've got the window, so I'm not going to do them there. And no, I've done them 10mm too high. So yes, I'll just show you the distance there. So measuring the distance from here to here, so that's including the mortar, it's 86. Yeah, but remember we want a brick to sit on that corner exactly, so it would all come down 10mm. So I'm going to do that. So I can just snap here and then snap 10mm below, and then I can delete that line. And while I'm at it, may as well copy across the other line for the brick. And I'm going quickly. I would normally put a thinner line for the mortar, but I think that would be enough, just like I've shown it there. And oops, zoomed out there. Okay, so now I can just keep copying without that line, I think. Oh no, it doesn't matter. Yeah, no, I'll just copy from here up. Yeah. So just like that. It's good if you end up with a whole brick at the top. It doesn't really matter. We're not going to see that in the detail anyway, so worry about that later. And so now we've got a brick to tie the flashing into. So that's really all we need now, and it's good to have a layer for the flashing as well. So it would be just the same as the felt layer. So a good trick there is to select the layer, and then when you make a new one, it'll copy the properties. Okay, so you can see there it would essentially come across from the brickwork, down, and then out, and then down, and then across again. So you can do all that pretty much by eye. So just drawing a line from the brickwork, across, down, and then at an angle away from the wall. So just turning ortho off, and then down, and then basically at 45 degrees. So I'll just turn polar on, and we'll do it. So this line could maybe be a bit longer just to indicate it's keying into the brickwork, and then with fillet can join those together. That would be fine. The insulation should really go in behind that. No, that's okay actually, just like that's alright. So that's it, and now I can start noting up. Oh, actually, yep. But it's good. All this work means that there is lots of demand for people to do the work, and that's why there's always work doing drawings like this. Yep, documenting, and it's a big part of the design process as well.
I mean, it might be excruciating, but it'd be a good thing to do.
That's right, and all the good designers. I guess why I was asking that Frank Gehry program, because you can see they really get into this level of detail beyond what I'm showing you. They go right down to, you saw the brick ties. We haven't even drawn in brick ties, but they're there. Yeah, I mean, in a building like this, you would have brick ties, and you should, by rights, we should be drawing those in too. But I haven't shown you that. So there's, yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah, but look, that's what I've done them previously plenty of times, but again we won't do those. So okay, so we can go into the annotation, and that's again the last major thing. So with a detail, it's often easiest to do the annotation on the sheet in model space, and so in paper space. With other notes, it can make sense to do them in model space. That's right. So within the drawing here, we've got these labels like the ones I showed you before, the notes there. And for room labels, again, that's probably a good way of doing your notes. Also for dimensions. So I just thought I'd better show you a couple done that way first. So by going back to model, and maybe we'll start in the section there, and let's see if they've noted anything. Oh yep, so that's good. So we've got a note about the herringbone. So going into the annotation panel, you've got the 4 different types of annotation that you have in AutoCAD. Now, I don't think I've shown you tables before, but tables are actually really useful. We'll definitely look at those later when you do your proposal drawings. And levers as well, also useful if you haven't tried those. And we'll actually start looking at those in a minute. But then the ones that I've shown you are text style and annotation and dimension styles. So if we go into text style, you'll see that there are already some that have been made. And so we've got annotative, and then we've got note to mil and notes. So note to mil I'll use, set current, and it's a little bit small, but 2 mil you can still read, so we'll use that. And it's a simple text, so that's okay. And notice it's annotative. So that means you need to know the scale here and set it in that annotative scale option.
So, can I start?
Yeah, sure.
When you did
Yeah, every time you use annotative text, it uses whatever scale set there.
Okay.
So you don't need to choose it every time, you can just leave it on the one you
So if
are
you
using.
are using annotated text, you selected your note to style, and
Yep.
you change your scale here.
Yeah.
Will it update the scale of the annotated text as well?
Only the new ones. You don't want it to change the old ones. And you'll see, so I'll draw some text now. So I've got my style set, and I'm just going to make some, so I wanted to show you, I do want to show you leaders. So here, I'm going to go into the multi-leader style. And we've got just one called standard. So I'm going to go to new, and we'll call this note 2mm as well. And then the content, we can have end text, that's fine, and then I can choose note 2mm, which is the text style I've already set up. And then the symbol I'll set to the arrow type that I want. So just use right angle. And 4 should be about right for the scale, and annotative for the scale there as well. So that's ready to go. Basically, it's set up in a similar way to the text style. It's just that extra option of setting annotative, so the arrow gets scaled accordingly, and then choosing the arrow that you want. So that's it. I've got an annotative leader style now. And so here you've got the button for leader. And so I'm just going to click where I want my arrow to go. And then coming down, you can see it's automatically putting my arrow, and then I can type in my text. Herringbone, struts or supports for joists. Oops. Now, I didn't put that on the right layer, I'll just put that onto my text layer. The arrow's maybe a little bit big, not a problem. Just go back to that multi-leader style and make that arrow, I think 2 or 2.5, something like that. There we go. And you can also change the arrow setup, so it goes. You're going to play with these, but you can set the angles there, or you can set it so that it's freeform. So I've always got to think about this. There, so you can set, that's right, with a number of points. Now that one, I'll just leave it as it is, but you can play with that and get different setups for the text position. I think actually like that's okay though, I'll live with it. There we go, so that let me change the arrow. There we go. And here we go, this should shorten it. Yes, there we go, that's what I'm after. Okay, so that's for 1 to 100. And so if I go and look at the section, so there you can see it's showing that text because this viewport is at 1 to 100. I'll lock that while I'm at it. But then if we look at the detail, so that's the area where I had that arrow coming down. But notice it's not showing because this viewport is 1 to 20. So that's a really nice thing that Annotated does for you automatically. It hides things that aren't set for the scale you've set in your viewport. Which does make sense because we don't want that note in this detail.
Does it hide it completely, or we just can't see it because it's so tiny?
No, it's hidden. It's hidden. It'd be huge otherwise. It'd be a big arrow here. Yeah, that's right. And we don't want those on the big section.
So we still have to put notes on the big section as well?
Yes, but just general notes, very general. So you put the note about the footings being just generic. So footing unknown, you could say, just like it does here. Concrete slab on ground. Concrete pad, those notes, exactly as they are there, would be fine. No, well, they're not showing. Are they shown here? Oh yeah, well.
We don't have to do that. We're just doing stairs, the windows.
Yeah, it would be good to show those. Sorry, if you, yeah. Yeah, you don't always need to show things in elevation, but those are good things to show. They're easy to draw. They're just, yeah, doors are easy. They're just rectangles, and it won't take you long to do those. And so then going back to the notes though, the leader here you can always copy, so you don't have to make a new one. It's an easy way of getting extra notes, and then you can just change the text. So outside of the, you could if you wanted, make it neater. Yeah, I mean, make it clearer. You can do that. Yep. So you can always move this over, and the leader will just automatically go with it. Yeah. So it can end up with a lot of lines going across the drawing, though. That's the only issue. So you don't always need to keep it clear. It's up to you, though. And then, yeah, but once you get one leader done, often it's easy just to copy. Yeah. And notes are the secret to making your drawings look more professional. Because so many people do amazing drawings with all the right line work and plenty of detail showing, but then leave out the notes that describe everything. And that's right, yeah. The notes are just as important as all the drawing. And so now I could go to draw my notes for the detail here, and I'll just give you a couple of examples so you can see maybe a bit more clearly how it all works. So we know that the details are 1 to 20. So I can choose 1 to 20 here, and then I can do either text or leaders. So we might have the, let's go back to the detail I gave you earlier, and I'll put a copy with the other one. So there we go. So you've got that detail, which is a pretty good guide for the detail you need to draw. And so again, I'll copy that into the folder with the roof detail. And I thought I gave some, so I did give some timber flooring, but not the one you need. Oh, here we go. There's some more window details though if you want those. So I'll give you that one too. This one's no good. So no. Okay, so I need to maybe get you a detail of some flooring, but it might be one you have to work out. It's fairly easy because it's just a floor supported on the inside of the wall. And so that's the last detail that we haven't looked at. But what I really wanted to show you there is that with the slab there, you've got the floor level showing, so it'd be nice to note that on the drawing, just with a note rather than some with a leader. So I'll just draw some single line text. It'll still use my current text style, which is notes 2mm. And so I'm just going to click a start point. No, it's snapped to the line, that's alright. And then the angle 0, and then I keep forgetting to change my layer. Just in case you don't end up showing levels in the details. And just to give you an example of some text. So if we look into the section, right, so it should be there. But it's not showing because this viewport is 1 to 100. But if I go to the details, it is there. Okay, so that's the way it works. And so you can do your text in the viewport or in model space. So I could go to model here and click into the viewport and draw some more text there. Yeah, oh yeah, well, it's up to you, whatever you find easier. But yeah, often it is easier just to draw in the viewport, yeah. So, well, here we go, maybe ground level over here. So maybe I need to extend that one out. Not a problem if I do. And then a lot of the notes though might not fit into that viewport very well. So drawing on the page should give you the same size text. So we're in paper now, I'm not drawing in the viewport. So I can go to single line or multi-line, or I can use a leader. So looking at some of the things we need to show, did I leave it open? There. So we'd have brickwork for both of these. And yeah, you could, yep. Yep, that's a good idea, yep. Cavity brickwork. We don't really know much about the foundations, so haven't drawn the flashing either. Probably not a lot you need to note there. Definitely want to note about the concrete slab though. So again, just with a leader. And well, actually here this may all fit, but no, this one won't. So this is a good concrete slab on ground. Probably don't need a lot more than that. You probably should show the flashing, but I wouldn't be too fussy. It is just existing after all. And again there, so this text is getting a bit awkward. So we can always, good trick there, just cut using clipboard, cut that and then paste it in to paper space. But then, okay, so it doesn't want to do it. Well, it's not a hard one to draw again. That can be a bit awkward sometimes. Normally it should work, but easy to do again. Right, so again, just try and put as many notes as you can and describe everything that you can see. With this one there's not much more we can see, but let's see, is there anything else I've not thought of? Not really. I mean, it might be a bit better to show the cavity as well. Yeah, something like that. And then, so same for the other details. And you can, once you get some of this done, a lot of it can just be copied up. So the brickwork and the cavity is obviously going to be there on all of it now, actually. So now I think about it, cavity brickwork's okay for other drawings, but when you can see it clearly like this, you probably should have a note for each. And so there, little trick you can use so you don't have to do another lot of arrows, just do a second leader and take the text out. Just forgot to lock that one. It's being a bit painful, so yeah. Let's try changing it here. Should let me. There we go. So you can have two arrows from the same thing, that's fine. There we go. Yep, that's fine. And then, yeah, so you can copy those notes, obviously, when you're working on a page a lot more easily than if you're working in model space. So I'll have the same note here somewhere. Not sure where, maybe to adjust it a bit, but definitely up here it would be. Something like that. I'm sure you get the idea. You can just adjust it as you need to. So that saves a lot of time once you get the notes done on one. And then, even though it is a bit of a technical drawing, you still want it to look nice, so just keep checking your print preview, so I could definitely tidy that up more. And then maybe that's So default should be 0.25 anyway. And that's basically it. But oh yes, I was going to show you just a couple of other little things with annotation. More generally, if you have a title block and you want to copy that from one sheet to another, or any other text, yep, so there's a little trick there. So you can select it all on the page, just like I have there, right click and go to clipboard, and then copy, not copy with base point. Oh no, sorry, normally you just copy, but this time, sorry, do use copy with base point. And then the trick is to type 0, 0 as your base point. Yeah, it's the origin. So on a page, it's the corner of your page. Normally, if you're working in model space, it's the absolute origin. Yeah, no, well, yes, if I draw a line from 0, 0 here, notice, so it's actually from the printable area, so from that dashed border. And so now I can use that as a base point when I go to another page. So I'll just find one that doesn't have the title block. There we are. So I'll delete that. And now again, if I right click, go to clipboard and then paste. Now I can type 0, 0 as the point to insert, and it puts it exactly the same point on the page. Oh, as your base point? Yeah. So you're trying to paste from model to paper? Yeah. Yeah. Oh, look, yeah, that could happen. So if it happens, then you can paste from model to paper, but if you export, so just W block it and then insert onto the page, and that'll always work, because you can definitely insert from a block into page space. So yeah, it can be fiddly though. I know, getting things from model to paper, because there's a scale as well to think about. But yeah, if you W block it and then insert it, it should work. So yeah, so I can just go through all my pages there and then paste, typing 0, 0 each time to get it in the same place. And before long, you'll have a set of drawings that's starting to come together. Oops. Yep. And you can start doing your referencing. So that's the final thing to show you. And so, okay, so this is all in the Australian standards and other things as well. You'll find it, but I'll just give you a basic idea. So in Revit, it does it for you automatically. So you should have a good idea from Revit as well. Okay, so for example, this section. Okay, so we've got the section line there frozen, but I'm going to bring that back because now I want to make it reference properly. So I'm going to bring the line down, and probably don't need to have it on the reflected ceiling plan at all, so I'll just take it away from there. Okay, so then here we go. So there we go, in the Australian Standard you can see they have all the standard symbols for references. Okay, so the main ones for sections are these. And they don't give you a size, unfortunately. Thought they would have done that. So have you been given a size for these symbols? And yeah, so let's just see if we can view this at full size, or if you, let's insert that page just to get it exactly right. Not that okay, so just by viewing it on screen, you can see that it's about should be about 15 or 20 mil, and so okay, so we want it to be about 20 mil on the page. So just to give you a guide, if we go and draw a circle on the page on the plan. So 10 mil radius. It's a bit large, so you can make them 15, and so the diameter can be 15 mil instead. Okay, so that's on the page, and that's at 1 to 100. So if you're drawing it back in model space, it would be that's like 150, so a 75 mil diameter. Do it on my section layer. Oh, is that right? That's sorry, 1500, so 750 diameter, sorry. So you can just go in here and add a 0. That's better. So just think about the size on the page. 15 mil is the size we want it to print out. So we'll just multiply that by 100, because we're working at 1 to 100, even though it's not set there anymore, we are doing it 1 to 100. So now I want to draw in the lines for the arrows, and this is just something you'll get used to the more you do it. But one way is to use polar, and it'll snap to the intersection there if you draw from the centre, and then come down at 45 from there. So then I can mirror. Now I'm drawing it the wrong way. Our section actually goes to the right, but that's okay. I can easily flip it around afterwards. And so the way it's shown here is the correct way, with the arrow stopping at the circle. But most people would extend it all the way to the line. I think it just looks better as well. So that's your standard symbol for section reference. But again, I want that on the other side, so I'll mirror that to the opposite side, and this time yes to delete the originals. And so then I'll use trim here just to, with the circle, cut that line away, and then draw another line across, because we want the text to be horizontal. And that can all be copied up then, minus this line actually, can be copied to the top of the line. So again, there are standard symbols for this, but it's something you should be able to draw fairly easily. And so then we should have room to put text in there. And so the text there, I'll just use single line text. Notice I've got the scale set, and I can probably use my other text style, notes, which is 3.5. Might need to be a little smaller, but we'll see. I definitely want to use Arial and not the other one. And oh yeah, so that's fine. And then I'll just see if I go draw single line text, and I'll show you can use justify here, and then center. Then I'll click on the midpoint, and then the rotation 0 again, and then the section reference could be a number, or say a letter instead of a number. So it could be A, or it could be a number. Up to you. So notice it's centered, it's sitting right on the line, so I can just move that away afterwards. And then could either draw some more text or copy this one down. Okay, so we need to have an idea which sheet this is going to be. So the sections could come right after the floor plan. That could be the next drawing. So you've got to think about what your first drawing might be. It'll probably end up being your site plan. So the floor plan will probably be at least number 2. So I can say A002. And then the section can be A003. And so that means this drawing would be number 1 on 003. Or we can even put the A in there if you like. And yeah, we're going to run out of room, so maybe make that a little bit smaller. $3 million. Yeah, exactly, yeah. So that can just be copied down, and you can again make a block for these. You'll see we've got blocks for these in the library if you have a look, but it's again good to be able to make your own. And then oh yes, I wanted to show you the section going the other way. So this line just before I finish this one could be broken, so this is a good chance to use the other break command, the one that lets you break between 2 points. So I'm going to go just NEA for nearest and choose a point on the line by eye. There we go. And now I can copy most of this. So the arrow and the circle I can copy over to this line. So I'll do it up to the other end. Make more sense. Rotate it. And, well, I don't need that little line anymore. Just extend this one across. And then, so I'll just mirror that to the other side. Stretch. And again, you can break that, and then the text can just be copied using the center of the circle as your base point, and then the new point. and so this will be more than likely on 004. Okay, so that's how your referencing should be done for sections. Then for details, it's a little different, but again, it's all in the Australian standard. It tells you how that should be done. They should have some examples of it in here. Here we are. So that's how you reference a detail. So the yes, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yep. So in your section, you would have that, and so okay, so just with a dashed line, so you'll need a well, I'll just use this section layer for now, and well, could use the annotation layer actually. Yep, I think that'll do. So with a good way there is with a rectangle. Something like that. You can chamfer the corners to make it a nice neat one. So just a pretty arbitrary distance, say 200. Actually that's a bit too much, so again, it's just something to make it look nice, so maybe 100 is better. There we go. And then you could just set that to have a dashed line type, hidden 2 or something. And then for the reference, you can just copy one of your section symbols. And then draw a line. Something like that. And so you'd have each one labelled that way. And they might look big, but remember on 1 to 100, it won't be that big. And that layer is frozen, I think, in this viewport. But there it is otherwise. So that's it. You can see there it's the right size on the page. There we go. So referencing is pretty straightforward, but it's the updating when you start doing your design drawings. If you change your sheet numbers, then you've got to go through all the sheets and change all the references, which is a lot of work, and that's one of the main reasons people have moved over to Revit, because it does that for you. But still, it's good to go through the process with AutoCAD, and I've worked on projects with over 100 sheets, where when a couple change, you've got to go through and change everything many times. Yeah, changing all the referencing for all the sheets that are cross-referenced, and sometimes that means changing almost every sheet. Of course you can, yeah, but you still need to change the referencing. It won't ever update the referencing for you in AutoCAD. That's right, so this is the number on the page, so when you've got, that's right, so with the sections, so I haven't done the referencing on the page, which you should do as well. So one thing you can do easily in AutoCAD that's very difficult in in Revit is to do reverse referencing, but I'm just going to make you do it one way. So here you can see they're labelled with 1, 2, and that's it. They don't have a sheet number in the reference on the sheet. But you can do it with a reference here back to the reference that goes to. So that's another option, but we'll maybe look at that later. So the simple way is just to do, again, the simple single number. So we know the size that it needs to be on the sheet, but luckily we've got one there we could just trace, which makes life easy. So again, just drawing a circle, and I'll move that away. And then a line coming across, just a normal way. And then let's see if they've got any examples here. They maybe don't. Oh yeah, so they've just got it without the line, which is okay, I suppose. Yeah, that's the quick and easy way. That doesn't hurt to have the line. And then the text, again, I'll just use single line. That's all right. So this would be section, well, let's say it's, which one's, there's no real cross or longitudinal section because the building's almost a square shape. So they're both cross sections. Cross section 1. Oh, and I've centered it, so I'll just change that back to left. The text for the number can be a bit bigger, but the important thing is that that's 1, and that doesn't have to be, cross section 1 doesn't have to be 1.
So then, just referencing that circle above, what we're seeing is the first section on the sheet. Is that what?
The first detail, yeah, exactly. So it might really not be number 1. It might be number 3, if you're numbering from the top.
Okay, so what you're saying is we've got 3 notations on the sheet, so it might be 1, 2, 3.
Yeah. Exactly, yeah. Yep. So I'll do that in a minute, that won't take long. So you should put the scale for each drawing as well. So that's your referencing on the sheet. Yeah, yeah, that's right. So here we'd have 1 for each detail. That's right, exactly, that's it. So this will be 2, almost definitely, and then the one at the top will probably be 1. And in fact, what you can also do is have this one twice, because they're the same. So they'd be both 2.
Do you need to show that?
Yeah, it's a good, yeah, definitely it's a good thing to do, yep, yep. Yeah, and that's a standard way of detailing because you'll have plenty of standard details throughout your projects. And yeah. And and for design work especially, that's really important. And then you can just have multiple places where you take off the same detail and you say, in this point I want my standard wall detail, or whatever you want. So, so again, this will be 1, and then this would be 3. So we've got that number twice. 2 twice there is absolutely fine. That's the way it should be, except that it will be on the details sheet, which is, of course, not in the right place. That needs to go, well, you've got the elevations to worry about as well, don't forget. So you're going to have 2 sections and then 2 elevations, which I haven't put into there yet, but I'd be making the sheets you know, you don't need the site plan, not for this project, just for the next one. Yep, not for this one. Yeah, I'm just showing you the setup so that it's there as part of the set for the next. Yes, yeah. Site plan. The site plan. Yep. Yes, yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yeah, so the reflected ceiling plan, that really should have come up to the floor plan, but since I didn't, we can put that after the details, or after the, no, maybe not after the details, maybe just after the elevations. The order's really up to you, but there is a bit of a convention there. So plans, then sections, then elevations is a good way of ordering them. So we're going to have plans is number 2, sections 3 and 4, elevations 5 and 6, and then the RCP 7, and details will be sheet 8. So now my setup wasn't very clever there because I've got those onto, oh well, symbol, we're not using that here, so that's fine. Okay, so the main thing now is that I can go into that section layer, and I know that the references there should be 8. And it really does get a bit tedious sometimes working the layout, so back to model sometimes. You can copy and paste text, which saves a lot of time and effort. And there we are, so that's the last major thing, referencing. Which again makes the drawings look a lot more professional, maybe a little bit more technical as well, but definitely, you know, following all the right conventions and everything else. But okay, I haven't shown you dimensions, which are not really essential for existing drawings. Try to keep the dimensions to a minimum, but it would be good just to have some overall dimensions. So I better just show you that quickly. If you haven't set up a dimension style before as well, I might just quickly go through that. So with dimension styles, we have done it before, but I'll just remind you that I have made one in here with you before as well, but I'll make a new one again from scratch. So clicking on the new button, doesn't really matter which one you've got chosen, because once you know how to put the settings in, you'll be able to do all of that as you go. And so I'm just going to call it Anno for annotative. I've got one called Annotative already, that's why I'm not using that name. And normally you can just tick Annotative here, but I want to show you where that lives. So I'm going to leave that turned off. And so it's on the Fit tab, if you do forget to turn annotative on, it's not a problem. You can always go there and turn it on. So now to primary units, I'm going to set precision to 0. We never need to be more accurate than to the nearest millimetre. Still going to set the decimal separator to a period, because for degrees I would set at least one decimal place for those when you're measuring angles. It does help. And then because you will have some angles at 0.5 at least. So then so back to text now. I'm just going to again browse and use the so normally I would just use annotative, but I've used it already, so I'll make a new text style. I'll call it dim for dimensions, and I'm going to use a trick here. I'm going to set, just don't leave annotative off, and set the height to 0, and then I can choose a font there. I want something different. Okay, so I'm just going to apply and close. Actually, I didn't need to apply that, but close it, and then choose dim from the list here, and then you can set the height in this panel. That's why you leave it at 0 in the other one. So 2.5 is good. Back to symbols and arrows, and now set architectural tick for the arrows or the arrowheads, and then that's it there, and then back to lines, and I'm going to put extend beyond ticks to, I like it on about 1.5. Extend beyond dim lines I like to be the same as that, 1.5. Offset from origin I'll make about 4 or 5 even. 4 is good. And then I'm also going to turn fixed length extension line on and make that about 10. That's right, exactly. Yep. So that's it. It's the current style, so I can close this and now draw a dimension just using linear up here. I'm going to click 2 points to measure, place it to one side. So again, it's based on the scale you have here. So I can draw in more dimensions, so a good option if you go to the Annotate tab is to use dimension continue or continuous. Or just, the button that says continue actually, and that'll continue from the last one. And what have I done there? 413. Oh, that's what it is, isn't it? That's what it was. Yeah, that's right. So it's always a good thing to dimension between your levels. That's just good practice on any drawing. Might move them over a bit though. And oh yes, I did just want to show you, say you want to do some dimensions for your detail. Right, so then the secret is to set the annotative scale first. You need to know the scale of the detail, and then you can draw in a dimension there, and it will be the right size for the detail. So now, notice in Model tab we can see both this dimension and the little one. But if I go again to the page with the detail, why can't I see it there? Because I'm on a frozen light. Yeah, it is, yeah. So I'll just do onto text. Okay, so there it is. You can see obviously there. Let's move this. And if I go to my section that's at 1 to 100, I can see this text or this set of dimensions, but not the little one that was for 1 to 20. So that should hopefully tie it all together, give you a better idea how annotative works. And maybe show you just one very final thing. You can draw dimensions on the page, and AutoCAD's pretty clever these days. It'll pick up the scale of the thing you're dimensioning. So see how I can place that dimension outside the viewport because I'm drawing in paper space. but it's clever enough to know that the viewport scale is 1 to 100, and so it's measuring based on that. So it's not like drawing dimensions on the page. If I did the same thing over here, notice how the measurement isn't 300, it's 6 mil or whatever the distance is on the page. But because when I did the dimension I snapped to things that are inside a viewport, even though I'm not in model, it will pick up that measurement. Which is pretty clever, I think. So you do have the option, if you've been wondering, of dimensioning on the page. And some people only do it like that. I think it's crazy, personally, to dimension everything that way, because it gets really confusing. But you will have instances where you really need to dimension on the page. Say if you need to dimension a footing like this, and you've got to do it outside the viewport, it's an option. But again, you need to know what you're picking when you work that way. Yeah, just another option for you. But I find it personally a lot easier just to dimension within the viewport. Yeah, just overall dimensions. Yeah, don't worry about dimensioning all the little things. Just to give a basic indication of size. And so it's mainly the levels in the section. In the plan, I don't really mind if you don't do very much dimensioning or any really, except that the boundaries should be indicated, but we can do that on the site plan later anyway, so I don't really mind if you leave dimensions off the plan altogether for now. And that's standard for as existing drawings. You don't need to give measurements because the walls and the other things aren't changing anytime soon. They're as they are, and so you just need to indicate those on your drawings so that when you dimension your new work with measurements, the builders know to go and find the wall that you've drawn nice and accurately and then measure from there. And there's also a bit of a convention that if something's dimensioned, that it's meant to be built. So you really should only give measurements for new things most of the time. But yeah, just for the sake of it on the detail, normally you wouldn't detail existing elements, but just for this subject you need to, so it wouldn't be a bad idea to put a few dimensions on your detail just to get used to doing that. So that should cover it hopefully, and so where have I got to, oh yep, that's fine. So unless you've got any questions about any of that, otherwise that should give you plenty to go on with. That's it for the existing.